let me share some secret codes, some cheat codes that will help you attempt the CLAT paper efficiently. One is regarding the negative marking, how to attempt the questions that you are not 100% sure of and you might have to guess those questions. And second is regarding how to read or not read the passage so that you do not get deviated by the unnecessary information that is given in the passage. Now first regarding negative marking, as you know that CLAT is a paper where you get +1 marks for a right answer and minus 0.25 for wrong answer. So if you do not know the exact answer to a question, it is not always necessary to completely ignore that question. Because in the CLAT paper, out of around 60,000 candidates who are appearing, nobody will know 120 out of 120. Nobody will know all the answers. So what people will do is, after they're confident that they have secured sufficient number sufficient answers right, they will go back to the answers where they're not 100% sure and take a calculated risk. Calculated risk. Please be very careful. Not a reckless way of simply marking the answer blindly, but a very calculated risk. And how to take that? First, understand the cost-benefit analysis. The cost-benefit analysis is, if you get a question right, you are getting 1 mark. If you get a question wrong, you are losing 0.25 marks. That means if you get 4 questions wrong, you will total get 1 mark away. You will lose 1 mark. So if by chance there are 4 questions and you guess 1 right, it's +1, and if you get all 4 wrong, it's -1. So the odds are slightly in your favor. If you leave all 4, you are getting nothing. But if you take a chance and by chance 1 or 2 you get right, you are getting 1 or 2 marks. And even if you are getting wrong, you are losing less than you end up gaining in case you get it right. So the point here is that there are more chances of getting the guess right than wrong, but here you have to be very careful which questions to touch and which questions to leave aside. And how to decide that? That decision can come with the 50-50 rule. So say for example, there is a question and you look at 4 options. You are 100% sure that at least option B cannot be the right answer and option D cannot be the right answer. It has to be between A and C. So you have easily eliminated 2 options. In questions where you can easily eliminate any 2 options, A or D, B or C, B or A, any 2 options, and there is a 50-50 chance. So although you do not know the exact answer to that question, it is advisable that you go for that question. Because there is a 50-50 chance that you will get it right, there is a 50-50 chance that you will get it wrong. If you get it right, +1, if you get it wrong, 0.25. And with this logic, if you apply this to a series of questions, ultimately you will end up gaining more +1s than losing -1s. But of course you cannot do this for a larger section of the paper, because the toppers, the people who are serious in the competition, they will be getting most of the questions right except few. But in rare situation when you are stuck in a situation where you might want to take some calculated risk, where you might want to not leave a question for 0 and there is a chance that you might score better, go for a calculated risk to see whether you can eliminate 2 options. And it's very easy. You will get the gut feeling, because sometimes the CLAT paper has very irrelevant option that just by looking at the option you can tell that this can definitely not be the right answer, especially in legal reasoning, or even if you have some knowledge in the general knowledge section, you can easily say that. Also depending on the things that are being talked in the passage, you can infer that this can definitely not be the right answer, and this can definitely not be the right answer, and the right answer has to be between option A and option C, or option B and option D. Accordingly, you take your call. So take calculated risk whenever necessary. Do not leave the question simply because there is negative marking. That is one rule. Coming to the second part, sometimes what happens is candidates spend too much time in reading the passage very carefully, each and every line, and then reading the questions very carefully. Now this of course consumes a lot of time, and you have only 2 hours for 120 questions. What is advisable is that instead of reading the passage first, glance through all the questions, then go to the passage. What will happen with this reverse technique? That when you are reading the passage after having glanced through the questions, your mind will focus on the relevant parts of the passage that are useful in answering those questions. So you will not waste time in reading the unnecessary parts of the passage that are given just to confuse you, that are given just to deviate you, that are given just that have no direct link to the answering the question. So do this, glance through the questions first, then come to the passage, so that you save some time, which is of extreme importance in a paper like CLAT. Now having said this, it is not a universal rule. You have to try it yourself. You have to stick to the strategy that has been working for you in the mocks. It does not work for everyone. Works for few people, worked for me when I got into UGCOURCES, but might not be the case with everyone. So you are the best person to test it out and see if it works for you or not. So if you want to take calculated risk, you can, but be very careful with this, be very calculated with this, apply the 50-50 rule, then only go for it. If you want to save time, you might want to try this out, that glance through the questions before carefully getting into the each and every line of the passage. So with this, all the best.